Greetings to you all. Buenos dias a todos. As Chris said, I'm here representing the numbers community, the second N in ICANN. And as I said about 3 years ago at ICANN61 in Singapore, I think ICANN is about 99% names and 1% numbers. Maybe that's changing. I was impressed by the chorus that followed the question just now. But at that time, back in Singapore, there was a conversation going on about how the names side of this community could get to know more about the numbers. And one idea was that we have a speaking slot here at the opening sessions of these meetings, which is a very generous allocation by ICANN and by you all, and it's one that we appreciate as an effective way we hope to reach out to you all with a few updates, which I hope you'll find interesting. I speak about the 1% in ICANN, but it doesn't mean that the number community is small. We actually comprise over 50,000 different autonomous networks around the world that comprise the internet, and most of these are members of one or other of the 5 regional internet registries, the RIRs. And like the DNS community here, the numbers community has got a lot of work that we need to do. But the thing is that work happens mostly outside of ICANN. So we have our own meetings. We have 2 meetings per RIR per year. That's 10 meetings around the world each year, attracting probably the same participation in total as ICANN does, roughly. And those meetings involve networking, capacity building, information sharing, and also policy development. So in a normal year of RIR meetings, we have, I'd say, between 20 and 40 different policy proposals which pass through the bottom-up, consensus-based PDPs, policy development processes of the RIRs in each region. So that's a fair amount of work that passes through those meetings, in which most of you, I think, don't get to hear about unless you come along. You're always welcome, of course. At the global level, it's the NRO, the Number Resource Organisation, which coordinates the registry side of IP numbering. That's the 5 RIRs. We have an MOU with ICANN that was signed in 2004, and that established that the NRO would serve as the ASO defined under the ICANN bylaws. So that's how it's been for 15 years. Last year we completed the latest 5-year review of the ASO, and that was one of the normal review processes that goes on with ICANN supporting organisations. That review flagged a kind of ongoing confusion between the ASO and the NRO and its components, Executive Council, Address Council, etc., etc. So if you haven't noticed that, we certainly have. And the review recommended, among other things, that the RIRs should hold community consultations across our regions on how to improve the structure of the ASO. In the first place, to help to resolve the confusion in the structure. So that's one update for you, that the implementation of the ASO review has started with these consultations, which will continue during this year at the RIR meetings. And after that, I hope we'll come back to you, to ICANN, to report on any agreed improvements that have been agreed for the ASO. The second subject I wanted to update you about is the ITHI, Identifier Technology Health Indicators project, which we're working on in coordination with ICANN, and this actually relates to the comments we just heard from David Reddle about WHOIS, because the RIRs do provide registry information services via WHOIS, the familiar WHOIS service. I think we all are aware of it, and also RDAP, the Registration Data Access Protocol. And that information that we provide through those services is critical to the health of the internet, because it allows IP address holders to be identified for the purpose of tracking technical problems and network abuse and so on that might be going on. The RIR IP WHOIS is really the first point of call in that attribution and diagnostic process. So, like many in the ICANN community, the RIRs are also working together with each other to ensure that our registration services are comprehensive and correct and current, and we'll be reporting on that both this week and ongoing. Now, I'm sure you all know that the point of a domain name is to resolve to a public IP address, a number, where some internet service can be found. And these IP addresses come in 2 flavours, IPv4 and IPv6. We probably also know that there are not very many IPv4 addresses left. Today we have rationing policies more or less in place across all RARs, and there's also an active transfer market in most parts of the world that ensures an ongoing access to the remaining supply of IPv4. But those are stopgap measures because IPv4 is almost exhausted, and the next generation is IPv6. So to update you about IPv6, the good news is that v6 is accelerating very rapidly around the world now. At the beginning of this year, we reached around 18% of total internet users having IPv6 capability on their computers, on their devices, and that's a huge number. And it also, importantly, that increased from around 7% just a year before that. So that's great news, and it should give confidence to you, to the names community, that it really is now time for DNS registries and registrars to be providing IPv6 resolution services in the near future if you don't already. And I think if you don't make that move, then in a competitive environment, you do risk being left behind. Just to conclude then, I'd like to echo what Chris Mondini said about the resilience of the internet and efforts to keep it running during emergencies, such as when the hurricanes, Irma and Maria, hit the Caribbean last year. The RARs work in our regions on the specific needs of our communities, but all over the world, our members are the ones who actually build the internet and who are directly affected by the disasters that happen. So our communities are very aware of the need to be prepared and also to recover quickly when disasters happen. And I can say that all RARs have needed at different times in recent years to respond to emergencies in our regions. We've contributed local technical capacity. We've given financial consideration to members who are under distress. We've supported the operational communities, the network operator groups, who share really critical information about how the internet can be maintained according to today's best practices. And that includes resiliency and recovery, of course. And also we collaborate with public safety communities where we can. So, like ICANN, the RARs will continue to support the cooperation and the coordination that characterise the internet ecosystem. And that occurs never more so than in times of need. As Shireen said, no one is the centre of this universe. We all need to work together. So thanks again to ICANN for the chance to give you this very brief update. Thanks to you all for your attention. Gracias.